I actually started writing, I don't know, about maybe 8 or 9 years ago. And it was something that I had done just, how people would write. One might write in a journal when they're young. So I'd always been doing that sort of thing. And I realized, or I had decided when I was going to college that I was going to be a cultural anthropologist, because one must decide to be something. That's what I decided I would be. And I studied Thai language, actually, and went to Thailand and did a year of field research and studied Northern Thai dialect while I was there, and felt fairly confident that I was going to go to graduate school for cultural anthropology. But what I was really interested in were the stories, the kind of, and a kind of experimental ethnography that would blur the line between the observer and the observed. And so basically what happened is I applied for graduate school, and that year all of the Thai studies professors at the schools I applied to either announced their retirement, were denied tenure, or became terminally ill, or something like this. So, but and one school though said, well, if you get the National Science Foundation Fellowship, we'll still accept you because it would be paid for. And they give 4 fellowships and 4 honorable mentions in the country, and I got an honorable mention. So, but I was so sure I was going to go that I had already set up this sort of tour of the graduate programs. So I went anyway and met with all of these professors, and one professor in Michigan, whose work I especially liked, when I was talking to her about what I wanted to do, she said, well, actually, if what you're really interested in is writing, then perhaps you should consider a writing program. And I think which suddenly made sense, but I think I needed somebody's permission to do that. And so without having any kind of background in literature, really, except for the Bible, I went immediately into an MFA program fairly quickly, which is where I met Vanessa and several other really important writer friends that have been really influential and have actually been my really good teachers.
How does that background influence you in terms of the press, Le Fig, which
it was really this group of writers that I had met at the MFA program, and actually they weren't. This group of people weren't all students at the same time. Vanessa and another friend Pam, or poet, and another poet friend Jennifer Calkins had all graduated before I started. It was just it was really
just fortuitous
that we met.
Like your writing, which gets categorized as, where people have problems with the language shift in terms of realism and non-realism.
Mm-hmm. And they have problems because?
Oh, I actually think that they have problems because it's biblical language. So, because I have a book where there's several stories in it, there'll actually be chapters, like there's a chapter of Isaiah that's woven into one of the stories quite rigorously in terms of it's just, if you took the biblical language and put it all together, it would be that chapter of Isaiah in order.
Oh, right.
And so, but it shifts through different characters who are actually speaking this language. But I think people, I think it's quite honestly, I think it's that people have so much personal baggage around Christianity that they get really offended and they get really upset about the use of the Bible. They can't tell if I'm for or against,
right.
And that makes them.
They decide
they decide, since they can't tell that it's definitely against the Bible, which is like a silly, it's like, oh, it's a book, you're going to be
like for or against a bus.
Yeah. Yeah. So they get very upset by that. I feel like writing is this process of sort of excavation. And so it's like I'm doing all this scratching at the paper, and lots of writing and seeing what's there. And I don't think that, in terms of going back to the question of genre or sort of categories, I think that for me it's much more about this sort of back and forth between what's on the page and what I'm noticing on the page, because I feel like I only partially choose what it is that I'm writing. That there is that thing where for me, it's always about trying to figure out what this piece of writing is trying to do or trying to be, and recognizing that, and then helping it to move along to be more of what it wants to be. But I couldn't just sit down and say, okay, well now I'm going to write this kind of a thing, and then just plot it out. I know some people work that way, but it doesn't work for me.